Hello and welcome back if you've been around for a while, or welcome if you're new. In today's video, I am doing a requested video, which is a doodle tutorial. A while back, I did a video of myself doodling just to calm down. It's something that I've always enjoyed doing since I was little. I don't put too much thought into it. I'm not going to create a certain character or recognizable scene. It is just lines, shapes, and really just lines and shapes, and I find it to be very calming, relaxing, and focusing. So let's get into it. Lauda has left 2 of her pencil pouches here on the desk for a couple days in a row, so I thought I would jump in and see what's into them. I guarantee it's a bunch of pens, and my plan is to doodle with them. So in here we have a bunch of the, I think you say it, Doodle brand, with a variety of colors. I guess it's possible she uses these pens when she tutors, but I don't think she does. So there's the Doodle brand in here, and then in this one we've got, it looks like a bunch of the Papermate like felt tip ones, and then what are these? The Signo in a bunch of different colors. So this is what we'll use to doodle with. That said, my preferred way to start a doodle is with a Sharpie. So since this is for beginners, I recommend either drawing a bunch of squares or just a squiggle, and then you're going to fill the blank parts. So I'm probably going to do the squiggle method. So this is all you have to do. Okay, and then it's a closed shape. Let me flip it over because I'm realizing you can't see the bottom. Okay, so now all we have to do is fill in the squiggles with our doodles. And this is where people always tell me, oh, you're so good at doodling. I'm not good at it at all. I wish I could do that. So to get started, and you can totally do this just in one color. Generally, I doodle in one color, or maybe I add some colors afterward. But to prove to you you can do it, let's just start here. I'm going to draw some rainbow shapes. There are also a ton of tutorials on YouTube, so if you ever want to know or want to have some new ideas, I definitely recommend checking that out. I guarantee at least some of the doodles I do today will be ones that I have seen on YouTube from time to time. But otherwise, you just kind of draw lines and different shapes, and you'll be surprised at how often it comes together in like a really cool doodle pattern. So now that I have these other lines on here, I'm just randomly going to draw vertical lines in some of these sections. I'm not going to worry about spacing or anything like that. I'm not going to worry if it's overlapping with the section above and below. I don't care. Sometimes when doodles don't look that good in the beginning, they come out like super cool at the end, so don't let it stress you out if you're not sure you like how it's looking. Because ultimately, at least for me, doodling is to relieve stress. I don't want to have more stress at the end of my doodle. Okay, so now that you have all your lines going sort of perpendicular to the curved lines, you're going to do all of the other sections with lines going the other way. And I'm going to do these slightly curved just so they kind of fit the shape that I have. And that's it. So you'll see for this section, it was nothing more complicated than drawing some straight lines and some curved lines. Anybody should be able to do that. Okay, so let's pick a different color. Actually, you know what? Let me use a different kind of pen. We used green. This time I'll use, what color is this? Blue. So another easy way to doodle is just to pick a shape and to repeat that shape. So for this section, I'm gonna do triangles. Now, you can leave it as simple as that, or what you can do is add some more to it. So for these, I think I'm gonna add some more lines. You'll notice a pattern. I'm a big fan of lines when I doodle. It's simple, they're kind of hard to mess up, and I think in general they look really satisfying when you're finished with them. Now, I could stop here, but for me, that space is lacking. So I think what I'm gonna add is maybe just some circles. We'll see how that ends up. I think I'm happy with that for now. The good thing is I can always come back later if I feel like I'm not happy with it, and I can add more. All right, let's see. Why don't we use one of the Tool brand? I'm gonna use what I think is red. It doesn't say. It might be pink. We'll find out. Okay, you wanna know how I know Lotta doesn't use her pens very often? Can you see that? This pen has never been used. But at any rate, what section do I want to work in? I think I'm going to work in this one up here. This particular doodle that I'm going to do now, I'll tell you, works really well in a square. Obviously, I don't have a square, so I'm just going to try to make do. I start by doing this. And then in each of these sort of, not triangles, but almost triangles, I'm going to draw lines that are parallel to the line on that side. Okay, so as you can see, I'm not worried about perfection when I'm doodling. If you're somebody that is worried about perfection, it is very easy when you're doing line doodles to get a ruler and just draw your lines with rulers. Nothing wrong with that. But now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna draw a straight line in the opposite direction of the ones I just did. Still within that square. And I'm just gonna repeat what I did before. For each of these lines, I'm gonna fill the area with parallel lines. I forgot to tell you before I did it, but obviously I'm just repeating the process over again, and I'm going to keep doing the same thing over and over until all of this space is filled. Actually, I'm to the point where I'm just going to fill this middle part in, make it solid. I could keep going because this pen is fairly fine tipped, but I think that's good enough. I left a few white spaces. There we go. Again, nothing more than lines. I think there's this conception that doodling is really difficult, and it can be. You can obviously do really complicated designs, but it doesn't have to be. All right, for the next one, I'm gonna use, again, this Paper Mate. I'm gonna use it in purple, and I think I'm gonna do it in this section here. And all I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna start, and I'm just gonna draw squiggly lines that don't ever fully connect. So this one will take a while, but I think at the end it looks really cool. I'll tell you, I don't care for this pen. It's not very comfortable to hold. At least not the way I hold pens. There you go. That's another section done. Again, nothing too crazy complicated, but I think it's very satisfying to look at when you're finished. Moving right along, I'm gonna come to this section here. Now, a lot of these have been obviously line-based. Obviously I did triangles here, but another easy way to doodle and fill in a space is just a bunch of circles. So I'm gonna use this orange, and I'm just gonna draw circles of varying sizes until I fill up this whole space. Alright, and then you can leave it like that, or you can go in and fill in the little gaps in between. You could also use a different color to do that. Okay, so as you can see, I started filling this in solid. This particular pen, as I was really coloring on this paper, started to tear it up. So I just switched to a quicker color. I still think it looks pretty good. But let's move right along and maybe find a different color. How about I use the pink Signo? Obviously, I've showed you some pretty simple designs. Let me show you one that I think is even more simple to complete. It's, oh Lord, I forgot she hasn't used these, so I have to pull the little nub off. And that is to just draw lines. Now, I will vary the sizes a bit. That's just my preference. You could do them all one size. But you'll see I'm not really going past the halfway point, and I'll show you why in a second. Okay, so that half is done, and now I'm just going to do the same thing on the other half. And in general, where I drew a short line on this side, I'm drawing a longer line on this side, but I'm also not stressing about it too much. I don't care if they meet up. It does not have to be perfect. It's definitely my refrain when drawing. I think in some ways, if you're a perfectionist, this type of activity can be really good for you. I think what I'm going to do here is go back in and add a contrasting color. In this case, the green. And just draw a few more lines. And there you have it. Let's see, what's a color we haven't used yet? Haven't used this teal. This is one that she has used before. I did draw some circles here. Another easy design, I think, is to do a little something like this. Just draw some like semicircles, and then you just keep repeating it. that is that. Not too difficult. Now, I have this huge section here. I'm not entirely sure what I want to do with it. But first of all, let's pick a color. I think I'm gonna go with whatever color this ends up being. It looks like sort of a magenta. I think I'm just gonna draw some random lines in here and see how it comes out. This isn't going to end up similar to this, I think, except for instead of being one connected line, it's a bunch of different ones. I've actually, that I can think of, never done squiggly line doodles quite like this. Okay, I do pretty much like that. I feel like it needs a little something else, so I think I'm gonna add a little more color to it. I think I saw lime green over here. I did. Let's see if it's been used. It has, so it's good to go. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna add in I think that's good. So as you can see here, it didn't take me too long to complete this. It's not too complicated, even though I think personally it looks pretty cool. At any rate, here's the finished product again. I think it looks pretty cool on the paper. Nothing too crazy, but this is the kind of stuff that when I was working a full-time job, I would do during meetings. If it was a meeting with people I didn't know very well, I would do it more discreetly, but for the most part where I worked, people knew that if I was doing this, I was focusing and taking in information. It's also something I do here at home just to kind of relax, unwind. It's kind of its own form of meditation for me. I don't set out with any particular plan when I doodle. I just, you know, move the pen across the paper and see what I come out with, and I find that to be very calming for my thoughts. So hopefully you got something out of this. If nothing else, hopefully you liked the artwork, and we'll see you next time. Bye!